All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning. It is May 4th, Star Wars Day, right? May the 4th be with you, which makes me think of my cat Binks because we always pretend he has a lisp for everything. And it sounds like you have a lisp when you say, May the 4th be with you. So, May the 4th be with you if you're a big Star Wars fan. It kind of makes me want to watch Star Wars later today for sure. I do definitely love Star Wars. But we're here for my intro psych online classes. Really glad to have all of you with me. We just have today and next week for our live streams, and then we're done with them. So thank you so much for those of you who are joining me on here live. I see a bunch of you getting your names in the chat. And again, we'll get going here in just a second. But I hope all of you are hanging in there and doing well. We are definitely nearing the end of the semester. And so hang in there if you are feeling worn down and exhausted. We are definitely almost there. So just as a little note of reassurance for all of you. But what I want to do today, so we are in week number 16. I want to take a few moments to go over, sorry, something pop up here on my other computer. I want to take a few moments to go over some of the things from last week, just a little bit of feedback from last week, and then we'll take a look at the things that we have going on for this week, and a quick few comments about next week, which we'll focus on mainly next week, but just to go over it as well. So let's go ahead and head over to Canvas together. And again, if you scroll all the way down, we are here. We are in week number 16 of the semester. So this week and next week, and then our class is officially over. I'm going to put that in the chat here really quickly. Our class officially ends on Sunday, May 15th at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so not this Sunday night, but next Sunday night, our class is officially over. A little bittersweet, right? It's always nice to be heading into summer, and yet at the same time, of course, it's a little sad that our time together is done. As a side note, if you really enjoyed psychology, you can always take another course with me in the future or with another psychology instructor here. There's definitely lots of other options. But let's focus on what we have going on. Last week, week number 16, just a couple of thoughts. We were looking at the therapies and some different treatments for mental illness. So for discussion number 16, worth 15 points like always. You were looking at, oh, sorry, discussion 15 was last week. My apologies. Discussion 15 with the therapies. Here we go. So you were looking at what are some of your stereotypes of therapy, of therapists, people who go to therapy. How would you describe the stereotypical therapist? What are the things that they might say or do? And of course, a lot of you really came up with the classic things, right? The classic thing with stereotypes of therapy is that there's got to be a couch, right? And a lot of you talked about the couch that you would see in a therapy room. A lot of you talked about, the therapist saying something to the effect of, how does that make you feel? As a side note, the follow-up to that is tell me more about that. Something I tried so hard never to say as a therapist. How does that make you feel? Because it's just about as cliche as it gets, right? But a lot of you mentioned those different stereotypes, which is fantastic. That people who go to therapy have serious issues, or that therapists maybe have issues themselves, that they don't care, or that they're only in it for the money. So really, really nicely done talking about those stereotypes that you might have. And then the biggest part of your points was talking about, if you were to consider going to therapy, what are some of the therapeutic approaches that you might be drawn to? What might that look like from a therapeutic standpoint, the different goals of therapy and so on. And a lot of you did a really beautiful job going into that. This was also the biggest area of point loss for people. Several people just didn't go into this in enough detail, were really brief, didn't describe like the techniques or goals of that type of therapy. But for the most part, a lot of you did a beautiful job. Lots and lots of full points on the discussion. A lot of you clearly understand my expectations. Really, really nicely done. And all over the place, a lot of you chose things like art therapy or like music therapy. There's so many different types of therapy modalities that you could choose from. And I love that a lot of you had the opportunity to do that. Can you all see me? Like for some reason on my end, I'm not seeing. Can you all see me and hear me? Okay. I'm not sure. I'm on campus, so sometimes the internet here isn't as good. I'm refreshing my phone here to see if it's better. There we go. That's strange. It wasn't there, and now it's there. Let me refresh it on my end and see if that fixes it for me. I can't see me on my end, but as long as you all can see me, that's really all all that matters. Bernaldo, yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, great. As long as it's clear on your end, that's really ultimately all that matters. So this week we move on to week number 16, which is our last week of content. So this week we're looking at the last chapter in our textbook, which is social psychology. If any of you have ever taken a sociology class, there's a lot of overlap between social psych and sociology. So if you like social psych, you might like sociology. If you like sociology, you might like social psych. It's as broad as psychology gets. So this week we are looking at chapter 16. Make sure that you read chapter 16 in the ebook, that you go through the lecture and lecture video as always. So in the lecture, if we open that up, the first page as usual, objectives and summary, what will I learn? Click on this, read it, listen to it. Beyond the book, some interesting things here. I have a video on Solomon Asch and his famous conformity experiment. You can look for the guy in the red shirt being very proud of himself. I think it's kind of a funny few moments of that, but a very classic experiment on conformity. Make sure you watch that. Some in pop culture stuff, movies related to racism and kind of scenarios and ethical dilemmas of what would you do. The key terms in review, here are all the key terms that you need to know from this chapter for the exam. And then finally on the application page, a little bit about reducing prejudice, discrimination, and racism. I made a little video a couple of years ago and posted that here for you. So as always, make sure you watch anything I included, click on all the links, explore everything. All of it together is going to help you to understand chapter number 16. There's also, sorry, it kicked me out here. There's also a lecture video, as always, with PowerPoint slides where I'm talking about and lecturing about the content. Make sure that you watch that, take notes. Those materials are definitely going to appear on the final exam. No worries, Chance. At least you are here. I'm glad you're here. Better late than never. And then discussion number 16 this week. As always, we're 15 points, 13 for your responses to me, and 2 for your responses to a classmate. You're going to be doing a couple of things and then reflecting on a couple of things. So number 1, or our first bullet here, I want you to perform 3 random acts of kindness or altruism. Now, ideally, these should be unplanned. They should be random. They can vary from something really small to something bigger, depending on the situation. And I want you to describe the 3 acts you performed. What did you do? What was the reaction, if any? And any thoughts or reactions that you might have. Now, if you're not going out a lot, you can always do these with people in your household or that are close to you. If you're out and about in the world, this could be something random. I often find myself doing random acts of kindness for people at like Target or the grocery store or whatever. But you'll describe it. What did you do? How did it go? Were there any reactions? The second one, I want you to describe a time where you were the victim of prejudice or discrimination. Now, don't think about this just in terms of race, though it might be race and race related, but it might be because of your age, your race, your ethnicity, orientation, gender, religion, level of ability, or other. Did someone make an assumption or treat you unfairly because of your age, or your gender, or your orientation, or your religious affiliation? Maybe they stereotyped you incorrectly. And then what you'll do is you'll briefly share what happened, how were they prejudiced or discriminatory, and then what were your reactions. And I'd be surprised if you've never had this happen to you in any way, but if it hasn't, you could describe a time in somebody that you know, maybe a family member or a partner or a friend who has had an experience like that and what that was like for them. And then finally, what are some strategies that you or people in general can employ to help reduce prejudice and discrimination? And these can be things that you do personally. This could be something that you learned in the video or the textbook that I shared. But make sure that you are kind of describing some of the ways that you could help reduce prejudice and discrimination. those are the things that I would like you to reflect on for this week. When you're done, of course, you'll hit reply when you're ready. You can answer my questions here and then reply to a classmate, as several of you have already done. The other thing for this week, if we go back, of course, you have the Twitch extra credit number 16, which I will give you the prompt for in just a moment. And then remember that week number 17 is open and available for you. Okay, so if you would like to get started on week number 17, which is next week's materials, you're welcome to do that. We have a closing assignment that you can read through the instructions. I will be going over that in detail next week, kind of talking about what you need to do, what that should look like, going over the sample submission and the list and all of that kind of stuff. Exam number 4 is also due next week. I'll be going over that and a little bit about the study guide. So if you have any questions about the study guide, next week would be a wonderful time to bring those with you. You also have a little closing class survey that I have posted for next week. Totally anonymous, but it's something that will help me to get a better idea of like how you felt about the class, if there's anything I can improve on for next semester. And then there will be one last extra credit opportunity next week as well. So just make sure that you're getting going on all the materials for this week. Get these things done before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. as that is the current deadline. Are there any questions at all from any of you? Any questions about the content from this week, the requirements for next week, anything at all related to the class? I do have a couple of announcements, reminders, and things for you, but any questions at all? I'll wait 1 second and I'll type up one of the reminders. Okay, while I'm waiting for you, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, May 11th. So I'm putting that here in the chat. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, May 11th at 11:30 in the morning. And that will be our last Twitch live stream. So next week, week number 17, will be our last live stream session that we have. So we'll be going over all the final materials, the final exam, the closing assignment, and all that kind of stuff. Please also remember, if you can take a minute to check your subscription status. Definitely a few of you, Chance, Joelle, a couple of people, your subscriptions have fallen off. If you have an opportunity to resubscribe this week or next week, that'll cover you obviously through the rest of the semester and allow me to mark down that you are here or that you watched this later on so you can still get those points for joining me. Otherwise, let me give you the Twitch extra credit question for this week. And we'll go over that real fast before we call it a day. So the Twitch extra credit question for week number 16. What are norms? And give me a specific example. So what are norms? You might define that term and then give me a specific example of a norm. And this can be anything. When you're ready to answer that, you'll head over to Canvas. Click on optional Twitch extra credit number 16 right here, since that's the week that we are in. Up at the top, you'll hit Start Assignment, and that will open up the little text box where you can type your response right here. And when you're done, go ahead and hit Submit. You'll get the confetti verse, 2 points of extra credit, just confetti today. But this is due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Make sure you get the 2 points for joining me today. There's one more of these next week where you can get 2 more points. Again, a lot of you have been doing these all semester. Those points are adding up, so I'm glad that you've done that. But you can at least get the 2 points this week and next week if you haven't done so. But those are the big things for this week. Again, week number 16, read the chapter in the ebook, read through the lecture, watch any of the videos and clips, watch the lecture video and take notes, discussion number 16, and then you can do that optional Twitch extra credit number 16 as well. Remember that if you want to work ahead, the materials for next week are up and available. In theory, you can finish up everything that's due for the class. As I said, we will still have one last Twitch live stream next week where I will go over everything in our final week of content. So just make sure that you finish this week, and if you want to work ahead, that's totally fine. Uh, I will hang out for a little while. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. Make sure that if you have any questions about the study guide, you bring them with you next week so that I can go over that with you. But I hope you're all hanging in there. Take care of yourselves. Try and hang in there. We've got like 2 weeks left, not even a week and a half left, and we are done with the semester. So hang in there. It is definitely coming and coming fast. Thank you so much for all of you joining me, trying to be mindful of your time. We're at about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to minimize my video, but I will be here if you have any questions or thoughts or comments. Otherwise, I will hope to see you all next week on our week number 17 live stream, our very last live stream of the semester. And again, have a wonderful May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And I will see you all hopefully next Thursday or next Wednesday. So sorry, next Wednesday morning. Thank you as well. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you too. Nope. So it's just exam number 4. Exam number 4 is the final. And then that little closing assignment will be counting as your cumulative element for the final exam. So yep, just that. No, there is not another exam beyond that at all. You're welcome. The work that I gave you has been hard to do. So the only way that you would have gotten points for joining me is if you have answered the questions on Canvas. So 2 parts to getting the 2 points of extra credit, and it's a weekly deadline. So for example, if you want to get the 2 points for this week, what you need to do is go answer that question that I posted. So this one, I'll put it in the chat again. You need to go post that on Canvas, right? What are norms, and give an example. It should only take you like maybe 1-2 minutes tops. Pretty simple questions that I usually give you. But if you're not answering those and you haven't been doing that on Canvas, yeah, unfortunately, it's too late. At this point, it is a weekly deadline for those assignments. So, but you can still definitely do it for now. What you can do is you can go onto Canvas and look at your grade. So if you click on grades on Canvas, it will bring up your grades for everything that you've done so far. At the very bottom, it will tell you the number of points that you have out of the total, and you can compare that to the syllabus to see how you are doing. So at this point, all we have left are the materials for this week and next week. So all you can do is get as many points as you can on those. But obviously, if you can do that and then get the 2 points this week and next week, that should all help you a little bit. So just make sure that you go and check that out, see what else, see where you're at, and that's really all you can do at this point. Yeah, so I mean, you're a great spot, right? So just make sure that you, do well on that final exam. As long as you don't absolutely tank it, it shouldn't change your grade too much. If you look at the syllabus, everything is just based off of points, right? So, the whole class is based off of how many points you earn out of the possible point totals, and that should give you a good idea of what you need to get on the test to maintain that score. None of them are percentages necessarily. Again, if you look at the syllabus, so if you go onto Canvas and you look at the syllabus under modules, it will tell you the total number of points. So right here, if you click on Online Syllabus Spring 2022, and then scroll through, scroll down, so you can see here's all the points, the orientation, the discussions, the assessments, closing assignment, and exams. And then here are the points for the class. So you need a minimum of 535 points to get an A, 476 points to 534 to get a B, and so on. So you can see here, when you look at your total points that you have on Canvas, you can do a little bit of quick math and see what you need to get on the remaining materials to earn the score you're hoping for in the class.